Hello, everyone, and good evening, and welcome everyone to the most awaited session today. So, first of all, myself, Divya, currently the program coordinator at A-Step, would like to thank everyone for your valuable time. And so, from here on till the next 30 minutes, we believe that the people here are present will be made aware about the change or the upskilling of the career, and also it will be made sure that the next 30 minutes of your time will not be waste of time and will get to learn something. Also, I would like to mention that if you have any queries during the session regarding anything, then please feel free to drop your questions in the chat bot, or you can probably connect with us with any of the social media sites. So now I would like to introduce the key speaker for today and also the founder for the company, and it's none other than Mr. Joshua Kripakaran, who is also the principal trainer at A-Step. So primarily, Mr. Joshua worked for NAL Bangalore as a design engineer, followed by project engineer in Wipro, then started his own business training individuals in professionally in the field of aerospace and aviation. So now I would like to hand over it to Joshua, sir, for the rest of the sessions.
Thank you. Am I audible, Divya?
Yes, Joshua, you're audible.
Yes. Thank you, Divya, for that nice and warm introduction. Uh, Good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having an amazing day. This is Joshua here from A-Step, Bangalore, and thank you for joining with us here today. You can check out my LinkedIn profile if you wish to learn more about my technical communication experience and the work I do at A-Step, where we build and empower professionals just like each one of you here, one step at a time, taking them to truly a step ahead in their future endeavors. And today we are going to step beyond the future as we learn and explore textless communication, which presents itself as the new age skill. So without any further delay, let's get started. Communication has been an indispensable part of our everyday life. Recently, one of my past trainees shared a video which expresses the importance of communication. And to start on a lighter note, I would like to run the video for us, right? So please hold on. Thank you. I think that video would have conveyed the importance of communication with us, right? So in our today's presentation, we'll be progressing through three major communication models, right? The first two communication model could be quite familiar to you if you are already from the technical communication background, or if communication is a major part of your job role. Starting with text-based communication, where we primarily talk about how pure text-based communication works. Secondly, less text, more visual communication, often referred to as the instructional design. And this part is not too much of a brainer as we live and experience this type of communication in the present day. Then moving on to the textless communication part, let's understand what's it all about, how it works, where do we stand in terms of technology and application, with some use cases, for us to have a better picture, right? So therefore, before we begin, let us recall our understanding by defining communication. Uh, it is the process or act of communication. It is the event of exchanging or imparting ideas and information and more on, right? Technology has kept us connected more than ever before. We have a plethora of options to communicate right at our fingertips to choose from simple chats with colleagues to presentations and speeches, to text messaging, video conferencing, and the range, it grows on, and there's no end in sight, how one can communicate with each other in today's world. To have a clear and concise perspective on today's topic, textless communication, let us once again, circle the path of communication so that we are aware, to consider the facts, which are involved in communications, such as your stakeholders, the mediums, um, uh, the receiver, right? And no matter what the underlying structure of communication cycle be, the underlying structure of communication, right? It remains the same. It starts with the sender. All right. I know that I'm not sharing the presentation. I thought it would be a textless communication, and I'd like to present the entire context in person and in voice to you. I hope that's fine, right? So when you look at the circle of communication, it starts with a sender. Today, I believe I'm interacting with a lot of senders here in the role of technical writer, as in the role of a technical illustrator. Some, who works as success officers who communicate, ASTEP's program to our trainees and participants, right? As a sender, it's quite important for us to understand a few things. What would that be? A knowledge of our audience for that particular message, right? A failure to understand the audience will result in delivering the message that can be properly misunderstood. A clear idea of purpose of the message, what the sender wish to receive, what they wish the receiver to do with the information contained in the message, right? The second part in the cycle from the sender is the message itself. We've come across the idea that content is king, right? And today, we have more of variations to what content is all about. The message is the information that the sender wishes to send from a medium. The message is encoded by the sender. The sender chooses the words and the medium that suits the message they wish to convey. It could be written, it could be oral, it could be verbal communication, right? This totally depends upon, for let's take for example a component maintenance manual technical writer who wishes to convey how a component can be serviced and returned back to the uh, uh, place where it needs to be in a working condition, needs to understand the audience first, right? He needs to understand, who the content is being delivered to. It is a technician in this scenario. What is the experience the technician has, and knowing his experience, the message is built. The third important thing, it's the transmission itself. We can call it the delivery medium, right? Today we have a plenty of delivery mediums such as Adobe FrameMaker, Architect Editor, several of XML and JSON authoring tools, which helps us to communicate or transmit these messages in today's required format. Most commonly the HTML5 formats, or the interactable format. From the transmission, um, the receiver receives the message. That's where the receiver tries to interpret the message by decoding the words and symbols inside it. All right. However, the receiver will also take it into account, their own experience, their skill, the kind of job they are doing, and the context the message is delivered to them. And finally, we come to the point where the receiver sends the feedback. It could be saying just an S or maybe nodding their head, right? This is fundamentally the cycle of communication. We'll understand this now, so that as we move into the models of communication which we are talking about, especially textless communication, these factors play a very, very important role, right? Now let's start with the first model, which we all know, we all started working on, the text only or the text based model, right? We live in a world dominated by text only communication, right? Examples of text based communications are texting, social media, emails, chats, and forum. But you see, not everyone is comfortable with one or all of them. Text based communication has become quite a common form of communication across the world. But still, you see, there are challenges today to make sure that text-based communication is absolutely effective. Text is fast and precise. It holds people accountable to their messages. Companies, communities, and even individuals have turned to text-based communication that not only document their business information, to also spread their news, share information more effectively. A few examples of purely text-based communication could be, weather updates, information about, let's say, a closing or opening time, warnings, news notification, and more. Right? In the era when texting and chatting, email, and all forms of digital communication are taking over, there's no doubt that text-based communication has become the dominant mode of communication. Right? The only thing is that it has become a burden for business that are not unable to communicate effectively in this mode. So, what do we mean by that? Okay, it could be readers fatigue. I remember a time when there used to be a time when people used to say that if you're not able to get a good night's sleep, probably read a page or two, so you'll go back to sleep, right? Readers fatigue is varies from person to person. It could be what I just gave you as an example. It could be not understanding the context completely, so they kind of stop to continue reading. That's one of the challenges in pure or text-based communication. The second is misinterpretation. We spoke about the feedback, or we spoke about the receiver's experience when the sender needs when the sender which the sender needs to take it into account while creating this message, right? But a sender cannot completely have an idea, or completely take it into account the entire experience of the receiver. That can cause a lot of misinterpretations, if you know what I mean. And one last thing about text-based communication would be, it is not very personal, it's impersonal, because when you write a technical manual in in the case of what we what the first person did, you see, it is in a very gentle way, the kind of uh, it's kind of impersonal. So that's three important things which I wanted to let you know, that text-based communication is slowly getting out of hand. And I think, and I believe that you will also agree with me on that. The second, the biggest model which we are in right now is the less text uh, communication. All right. I would say less text, more visual. This type of communication is popularly known as infographics. So, one of the most effective and popular ways to communicate, capture attention these days is by creating visual contents in the form of infographics, right? See, these highly informative graphics strategically combine text, images, icons to present the most important information in an easy to understand manner, right? I had a few illustrations or examples to show you as infographics. I believe that uh, knowing the audience, who I'm speaking to, I believe that you'd understand what infographics is. See, they can improve the cognition by utilizing the graphics to enhance the human's visual system, right? The ability to see patterns, trends. The similar concept is also used in how you visualize data, how you find statistical graphics, information design, and more of information architecture. Right now, what's wrong with this? Because we are practically living in this era, right? Where we see a lot of infographics. Um, if you are an Instagram or a social media user, I believe that infographics is all over us. If you doom scroll, you'll see one after the other. But what is the challenge? I'd like to present to you here today is that it gives you some kind of ambiguous insights, right? Uh, there are chances that you might not be able to contain all the information if you'd like to present in one infographic or in one view to the reader. One. Secondly, it is properly time consuming in order to develop such kind of innovative, creative infographics, so that you tap on to the understanding of the user. You make sure that he gets these things, he receives the message. Having said that, it is definitely going to be expensive, though there are a lot of free tools today for you to just get started in creating infographics. You must realize that these tools, for you to use it for commercial or business purpose, it's pretty expensive, right? So now that leaves us to our topic of the day, right? Textless communication, right? Textless communication is a new age skill. It's a new thing which is happening in the industry. It is being developed with a variety of speech and language technologies. You might have come across the concept of uh, natural language, uh, natural language generation, natural language understanding, and natural language. I'm sorry, it is NLP, NLU, and NLG, right? All these three, which the machine learning or the artificial intelligence community, which is offering us in terms of text communication, starts with one basic understanding of automated speech translation, right? And that would be followed by neutral machine translation. Okay, so I'd like to give you a bit more idea about how the automated speech response, otherwise the ASR, with the application we use every day. So I'm going to share my screen to show how ASR works. First thing, I'm going to show you how speech to text using dictate feature in a Word document, right? All right. So to help us understand automated speech response, I'm going to dictate a few lines, probably the lines which I already see there on the screen, and help you understand how this works. I'm sorry. All right, let's do the text to speech here before, and then I'll show you the other one.
Take the right direction for your technical communication career.
A strong work ethic, degrees, certifications, and experience aren't always enough to get you where you want to be. While those items are the foundation of a solid technical communication career, sometimes you need insight from someone who has climbed that mountain already. Connect with us today to know how our mentors can help you move forward in your technical communication career. Our STEPS Technical Communication Mentorship Program is designed to support the professional ambitions of aspiring and experienced technical communicators, offering access to the skills and experience of eminent mentors.
That's about text to speech, and you see you have this option in MS Office, MS Word. I'm pretty sure that you might already know the features known as read aloud. Okay. So this is speech to text. We've done with the text to speech, right? Let me show that how it works. Sorry. Okay. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well today. That was a use case of how speech to text is converted. Last year, when Meta, Facebook, came up with GSLM or Generative Spoken Language Model, it was the only audio-based language model that was textless, right, at that point of time. So basically, GSLM uses raw audio signals directly without any labels to produce content, either from speech to text or text to speech. Also, converts speech to speech translation. Here's in translation. One, it's the phonetic content behind it. Two, just when I spoke to the application, it was a speaking rate and duration, the identity of the speaker, emotion. See, if you are from the technical communication industry, you would know today's content for communication is developed using markup language. A markup language such as XML that uses tags to define the input of each and every content which is populated into, let's say, a medium which is used to deliver content, right? So I'd like to conclude the session by telling you The key to identifying and understanding the dynamics, right, of selecting the best and suitable communication model um, lies on three major aspects. One, it's a technological attributes, right? What technology are you and your receiver uh, are based upon. Number two, user analysis, right? And number three, the social circumstances in which the user selects and uses the technology. Learning to master effective communication not necessarily relies on improving the message or the content, but rather by improving the delivery of the message. Uh, so I'd like to close the session by saying, if you'd like to use the best communication model, I would say that use each communication model to its greatest advantage, and you'll be able to get the most out of communication. Thank you. Over to Divya.
Thank you so much, Joshua. It was really a nice piece of information you have shared with us, and I hope everyone present here enjoyed the session very much. And I also request you to give a feedback. So, and also a feedback form has been circulated in the chat window. So you can just probably fill it out and let us know about today's sessions. And I would also like to thank all my seniors and my mentors, Mr. Joshua, Mr. Daniel, Mr. Ajit, for the valuable time for the session. And thank you so much.
Thank you. If you have any questions, I can take it up. I'm pretty open to your questions, and I'm sorry that if I would have not conveyed what I would like to tell you through this presentation, please pardon me.
Danny, not Danny, sorry, Joshua, I just have a request. The initial video which you played, we could not clearly see it. Can we play that again, if you can?
Sure.
Joshua, is it playing? Because we can only see your window, not the video. I think you need to reshare.
Surprisingly, I'm not able to see that video again on my share screen. I'm trying to do it again. Yeah, I got it. You able to see my screen? The video?
Yes, yes.
There you go, Ajit.
Thanks a lot, Josh.
Thank you.
And over to you, Divya, for the questions, or if anybody wants to have some chat with Josh.
Uh, Thank you, Ajit. So, if anyone is having any kind of queries or feedback, please do raise your questions in the chat window, and also request you to fill the feedback about today's sessions. And thank you so much, everyone present here. Have a good day.
Good evening, everybody. Is this discussion open to communication, or like we have to first be able to text the question and then have the communication?
Please go ahead, Imran. You're already there speaking to us. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. No, it was amazing, but I could not understand the relevance of the video in terms of how you were trying to relate things with visual content and infographics.
The video was shown to you all in the beginning of when I started the session.
Okay.
Right? That is to insist on the communication end. So that talks about the significance of communication and miscommunication.
All right. So one of the points that I would like to bring forward is that how you were trying to explain the importance of infographic. It can bring implications or directions to, for example, in case of a sheet which is given in front of the aircraft while we travel, there's a sheet given about oxygen mask popping out and stuff. So I think one of the most important instincts that I could pick up from this was that it's so important to understand that brain understands everything pictorially. So when we say the name of anything, for example, a book, we do not get letters of the spelling of book, B-O-O-K. The image of the book pops out in front of us. So I think it's really, really important to understand the importance of text-based communication or infographics for that matter. How simply you could basically communicate to other person by just images or the least amount of text that you could bind to it. So this is what I have been overall able to understand. But then a few things I could not catch up to about the speech to text or text to speech or automated speech response. That's where somewhat not all of it. I could not grasp all of it.
Right. I get that. Imran. See that this speech to text and text to speech is right now happening in the industry, especially in the technical communication industry, right? Where I see a technician sitting right at the aircraft, okay, trying to having his hand full on the tools and on the equipment where he's working on. He communicates with the system to understand what needs to be done, and the system speaks back to him in terms of what needs to be done.
But the question is, if it's textless communication, we are again giving the input as text itself. Then how is it textless communication?
Right. So what happens here is that there is directly speech to speech translation which takes place.
All
Right.
right. All right.
Right. Where I communicate to the system saying that can you tell me the disassembly procedure of disassembling the oliver leg out of the landing gear. It helps me step by step in doing my task one after the other.
So that is in case of speech to speech, communication.
Yes, where text is not involved.
Yes, but you did mention about speech to text communication.
Right.
So can you please share some information regarding that?
Yeah. So why I did is that the entire idea of textless communication starts with automated speech response, right? Where the speech is understood by a machine. Okay. So this is the first part to it. Then comes something called NMT, neutral machine translation, where it kind of translates it to the end receiver's language, or it could be a language where the machine can understand, right? So and it can directly provide you with an action. For example, you ask Siri to switch on the fan, and it does.
Right. Right. So how would that basically function? Is there a code that runs that particular
field of technical communication? What we do is we develop content. There are two ways of developing content or creating content. One is the unstructured way. The other one is the structured way. Okay. Right. Now, in the structured way, when we create content, we tag every type of content with respect to its definition. Let's say title comes along with a title tag, right?
All right.
Right. I'll just show you how a tag looks like. If you're not getting that title, and I say textless communication is the title, and I close the tag with a backslash and title. And today, we use XML, extensible markup language, because it helps us to define our own tags. And once you pocket all these content into these tags, they become a structured content where I can make use of these tags to work in a certain way.
So okay, yeah. So it will basically work like a code.
Tags are not coding. That's why I'm not commenting to your answer. It's not a code. Tags are user-defined languages, markup languages they call it, in order to help you develop the content. So what you mean by tag code is what we mean as markup languages or markdown languages here.
Yes, definitely, yes. So in case of even like the references you're using, or the close ends which you're using, basically when C programming was introduced, it has similar kind of functionalities wherein you use different text along with it, but it functions the similar way almost.
So codes are basically syntax language, right? It kind of talks to an application. This is where a technical writer, or let's say somebody who's involved in communication, okay, develops content. Now, the easiest way to develop content is open up a Word document and type the content into it. Now, today we have a lot more technology where we don't really have to tag contents even without label. That's where I mentioned to you about what is that? Just a second. GSML, right? Generative speech machine translation, GSMT.
GSML, okay.
Right? Which it's not yet into practice, but Meta has come out with it. And if you'd like to take some more from this, there's something called GPT-3, a very commonly used machine learning technology, which talks with users and provides users with whatever content they want.
Actually, unfortunately, I haven't been able to expose myself to a lot of
No problem,
coding
no problem.
languages. But
So this is,
I
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
yes, yes, but basic understanding of it is there because while even in engineering you have basic computer science programs and stuff is there, and even when I was in Novatech Robo, we had to program Arduino Uno board using a language itself. So code was not there, but at very basic level, not in the level wherein we are trying to actually apply it right here. So I was just trying to relate how could this be similar in terms of understanding and being able to apply it.
Right, right. I'm correcting myself. It was GSLM. It's Generative Spoken Language Model, right? See, the aim of today's session is to help us get started and to understand that tomorrow's communication is not going to be the same as we do today,
All right.
right? The way we develop content, the way we receive content, it's going to be very, very different. And we are moving into a place where content will interact with content and get the work job done first.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else? So thank you, Divya. Thank you, Ajit and team, for making this webinar a real success. Wish you all a nice evening and a happy weekend.